GM friends, and thanks for joining DeFi-Logic's TA Saturday, every Saturday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. DeFi-Logic is the crypto think tank for better decisions. In today's community call, we'll review charts for GMX, BCB, Sol or Solana, VRA, S&P 500, DXY, BTC, the Grand Bitcoin, and our weekly theme, APE. And now let's get started. Over to you, Cryptix.
Hey, welcome everybody. Yes, so I'm going to be charting GMX, Sol, VRA, and BCB today. So yeah, let's go straight into GMX. Let's bring the chart up here. We've had a few. So this is on the daily time frame. So about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cents. Well, GMX has had a good week. If you've had a good non-stop week of uptrend, which is good. It looks like my only concern is this decrease in volume here. So this uptrend is very weak. The decrease in volume and increase in price kind of makes me feel like it's just going to be a fake out of this level here. So it's not really a long for me based on that volume analysis. If it was the other hand, it was a bit more volume, I'd probably be saying, punt along here as a support and resistance play. And go up to the next level here, but it's not really a long area. It's probably only going to be a long area after a couple more days when we see how it reacts at this level. If it starts to do this, then that's a buy, ready for the next level. But it could just be a simple fake out like this, right back down to the next level. So yeah, in terms of a TA perspective, we just need to see. If it weren't for this volume, I'd be like, yeah, punt along here, but from a TA perspective, it's probably a waiting game for me. And Pepe's just said the GMX version 2 launches August the 1st, so yeah, potentially, if they've got something launching, that will cause a pump, but it's probably going to be a seller news event, to be honest, from my experience. So if that does happen and this goes up like this, then this is a short for me. If the event causes a pump up to this level or this level, I'll be shorting all the way up here for a nice sell-off. So yeah, at the moment, there's not really a position for GMX, but if you did buy at this support level for a support resistance play, you've enjoyed a nice week of uptrend, which isn't always nice to see. You don't usually see a full 7 days of green candles anymore, so that's good from that perspective. But yeah, we'll wait for GMX and we'll see how that progresses. On to Sol. So last week I gave you a long idea, and I said to DCA into the position from around about here all the way down to around about this order block, just around here. So if you were kind of DCAing into the position, which had a nice reaction off the trend line here, then you should technically be in profits now if you DCA'd correctly. So if you DCA correctly, your overall position could potentially be around. So I didn't join in, but if you did trade Sol, you DCA'd in, you should technically be in profit around about here now. And it looks primed now to reach 32.84, depending on the rest of the market. I know the market's been ridiculously slow again. A lot of sideways action, so assuming the market is healthy without a significant pullback for Solana, I'm expecting at least 32.84 to be reached. That would be a definite take profit one for me, and then just save a little bit for the full take profit mid-range here, in keeping with this kind of mid-range resistance level here. In fact, I might even just add in a level there we go, make it more nicer. Yes, so because what might happen actually is they might just take these little highs here. So if we take these little highs and then just nuke it back down. So you still have to be conservative. You need to aggressively take profits. I mean, to be fair, even if you're in this trade, and even if you went up to mid-range here, just take profits along the way, because this market is so unpredictable. You have no idea what's going to be around the corner. You can just come up here, boom, come back, and literally just round trip you. But from a TA perspective, it does look primed to continue, especially since this nice bullish trend line kind of retest here. So that's pretty much on Solana. I mean, on the contra trade, if we come below this trend line, then that's it. We're nuking all the way back down to 14 area, which is going to be a major buy for me if it gets to here. I would be going in heavy, which is massive confluence with the order block here, order block there. But I don't really see that happening, to be honest, unless we have a market wide pullback. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say on Solana. Is just keep eyes on that trade at the moment. So onto VRA. So VRA, to be fair, it looks pretty pathetic at the moment, if I'm honest. Like, look at this entire structure here. And then you look at this entire structure here. The bounces have been incredibly well. It's not. I don't know. I don't even know what percentage that is compared to that, but it just looks, in comparison, like it just looks dead. But from a TA perspective, it can't. This market structure here, so all the way in this market structure, it looks similar to this market structure here in its downtrend, with a little bit more of a stronger bounce. So this, let's get the where are my, there we go. So we're coming down, we bounce, we come back down, we bounce, go over to the right. So based on this kind of fractal play from these two kind of structures, I'm expecting one more leg down to the weekly support in this trend line here, to then have another one of these big pumps, maybe a double top, and then all the way back down, and it'll just keep doing it on and on and on. Next year will be completely different. If it will just, obviously, cause it's potentially because of the halving, the massively anticipated bull run, you're probably going to be wanting to accumulate in this level here, ready for just for the bull run, because everything's going to pump. But if you're a trader, I would certainly be taking profits back at this high if it comes, and buying around 0.0033. At the moment, it is not a buy for me at all. We're mid-range between a resistance and a support. But yeah, that's pretty much there's not really much to say in this current market dynamic. Yeah, if we had stronger bounces and an actual uptrend, I would probably give you more insight. But it just looks like it's primed for another leg down, all the way down to 0.033. I think the 0.33 level will hold. To be honest, it might actually get front run a little bit, and we may end up going with this order block here, just a little bit over around about 0.035-ish. So if you're a spot holder, start DCAing into this level here. Obviously, if you're still holding from lower, you can, because it's probably a good hold for the future. That's pretty much TA wise for VRA. Sell the pumps, buy the dips. On to the last one, BCB. Now, BCB is actually really interesting now. Now more data is coming in, I'm actually seeing something very, very bullish. And what it kind of looks like based on this is some sort of cup and handle. So if I do that, yeah, that looks better. So it looks like, so we've got the cup here, we come down, we round off, and then we go up for a pump, and then we cupping down all the way like this. This is kind of the cup, and we got the handle here. So naturally, with your textbook TA, we are going to end up revisiting. So from here, we're going to end up revisiting here for the second touch, all the way back down to around about here. Third touch, reject a little bit, and then zoom off. In terms of timeline, this might take months to play out, but at the moment it looks like a cup and handle, which has a very bullish aspect. So I'd probably be buying the dips now at the daily support and this daily support here. So in terms of, so I know before I used to say DCA at this level here, but now I'm saying if it comes to it, DCA between these two support levels here. So if it comes to it now, as it comes in, DCA all in this box here, and this should be a nice demand zone now, ready for the cup and handle expansion, which usually tends to go parabolic. So I'm hoping in terms of a timeline, this kind of stretches out a little bit longer and starts next year with the bull run, because with this pattern and the bull run, the actual expansion will be massive. But that does depend as well on the FA with this coin as well. If they have stuff coming out, this handle structure could break out at any point. So DCA as soon as you can, but only at your fundamental levels. So it'd be interesting to see how this plays out, but it does look bullish. My only concern is probably the massive volume spikes, and then there's a substantial drop in volume. I don't entirely know what this drop and expansion in volume is all about. It kind of looks like manipulation to me. It looks like market makers are kind of maybe faking the books. Not entirely sure, but anything in this market is possible. But yep, it looks like a bullish asset to me. If there's possibility to short it, I wouldn't short it, because the swings on this thing are incredible. Don't use leverage either. I mean, just in the last day, it's gone up 28%. So yeah, that is BCB. Is there anything else anybody wants me to chart whilst I've got time? People wanted me to do Dodge.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
perfect.
dear. Oh, I don't really do TA on Dodge because, well, it doesn't follow TA. I even looked at it in ages. Looks like an accumulation zone, potentially. To be fair, it looks like it could break out at any moment. Looks like it's trying to. I think maybe a lot of people are buying Dodge. You know, the FA, perhaps they're banking on Elon making it or integrating it into the new X, as it were. So it looks like it's trying to break, but it's failed at every attempt here. Since it's revisited this order block so many times, you're probably better off just waiting for it to revisit this part here again, and then just ride it out. Because the only thing that's really going to break this kind of resistance in this trend line is Elon announcing it. So I wouldn't buy until 0.06178 and between 0.04951 if I was an investor into Dodge. But yeah, it's kind of a gamble, to be honest. If you're buying that, if you're into that, go ahead. If you're not a gambler, take a more educated risk and wait for a support level. And if Elon does integrate it, then great. Yeah, that should kickstart some movement in other assets as well.
Thank you so much, Cryptix. I think that is it for this portion. Thank yous coming from the community as well. And next up, we will have GForce. GForce is going to cover some legacy market and also our weekly theme APE.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. I'm going to cover legacy markets. Typically, every week I cover S&P 500, DXY, and Bitcoin, the digital gold, as people are now starting to call it, that are in the legacy markets. That's been a change. Then lastly, I'm going to cover APE because it was in the write-ups this week in the daily dose. So I'm going to share my screen here. So this is the daily chart for the S&P 500, as I was mentioning, and I've been sounding like a broken record or a just repeating gift. It's just 52-week highs every week. We pulled back first part of this week a little bit on Monday, and then Thursday we hit another 52-week high, basically because of the Fed announced interest rate increase of only 25 basis points. Everybody expected that. So the market on Thursday, even though they announced it on Wednesday, took off on Thursday and then pulled back. This is the first volatile day that we've actually seen in a while. It's a 75 point drop. So that had some people were taking profits, but then Friday morning we had some good economic news, and so it actually went up again on Friday from the drop on Thursday. Friday was an inside day, which was not much action and very light volume. But you can see that the S&P 500 has just been going parabolic. It just keeps going up and up and up. It's a surprise. Nobody expects things to happen during the summer that way because of low volume. But that actually explains the 52-week highs each week. It's because there is low volume and things can move significantly. So I cover basically weekly options in the daily dose on Stock Saturday, so you can look at each option play each day. The next I'm going to talk about is DXY. Since I've been covering it every week, it's actually done pretty much what I thought it would do. So DXY back in first part of July, it broke this basically this bottom here and just has tanked. It's gone down, and it keeps hitting on the 3x lower band, and then it's flattened out. And as I said last Saturday, it should run back up and actually touch the standard deviation line, which is the black line here, which it did on the first part of this week. It touched it, it pulled back, and then Thursday, it definitely crossed that line. So if you were looking at this, it did exactly what it's supposed to do. It broke this trend line here, dropped down, kept hitting the 3x lower band, and then it's popped back up to the standard deviation line. So that's a perfect play. As people know, I like Bollinger Bands, and I like them on a daily chart. I think the daily chart is king, and it played right into it, and it did exactly what we thought it would do. So DXY is performing as expected. The next chart I'm showing is Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, everybody knows what's happened in this range. We've had some announcements with the Ripple case, and the SEC kind of got their face slapped a little bit. But since then, it's pulled back down, and you can see that it's just stepping down. Since that time where it's dropped, it basically steps down, flattens out to the next step down again, and it's flattening out again. I think this is going to continue. How low it's going to go, I don't really exactly know, but I think it's going to keep falling down this downtrend to the 2x Bollinger Band, the lower band here. So look for another drop down. Whatever is going to cause that, what kind of news is going to cause that, I'm not sure, but it keeps stepping down. At some point, it is going to find support at that level. Who knows? Is it going to find support at the 29,000 level, or is it going to find support at 28,000? 28,000 is a possibility of finding support on that, but we're going to have to wait and see. Next, I covered this week, since we talked about the board apes, and that's been in the daily dose. Kyle's talked about that. Several reports on that this week. So I looked at the technicals on it. Technical analysis, as Cryptix says, a lot of times doesn't apply to certain tokens and certain coins. So I looked at this, and there's actually a pattern that's developed. So this long trend line down has happened since the first part of this year, since the first part of 2023. So what's happening now is actually forming a triangle. We've had support here around 1.986. Even though it's dipped down low, it's come back up to it, and it keeps coming in, and it's actually formed this triangle, and we have price compression right here. you'll see the last 3 days that the price has been squeezed into a very, very narrow range. And this is forming the tip of the triangle. So I think at some point, we're going to see a pop up. Obviously, this token is very news dependent. Unfortunately, everything I'm covering now is news dependent, even the S&P 500. So we'll see if we get a pop. So it's filling in the very, very tip of this triangle, and hopefully we see a pop. There could be a pop up. How much of a pop? I don't know. It could go back up to the above 2.20. This range up here where it peaked and came right back down. It's a possibility. So that's what I have for now. That was my TA analysis on APE.
Thank you, GForce. I did see in the chat, Cryptix said, imagine what happens to crypto when the equities drop. So I thought that was a very good comment and a little noteworthy. And that's it for this week. Remember, as a member of DeFi-Logic, you can post requests in the Daily Dose forum, and we'll review your coins, assets, and tradable proxies in the next call. Also, DeFi-Logic members interested in alpha testing our Ethereum spot trading indicator and new XRP strategy developed by Cryptix. This service is free until we launch. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you at 12 p.m. Mountain Time next week. GN friends. Join us next week in Discord for TA Saturday at DeFiLogic.com.